Welcome to the 40 Plus Podcast.
Welcome. What's going on, y'all? It's Mario J. Brown.
And I'm your host, Kimberly Marie Brown.
And this is the hangout spot where we touch and inspire those who are 40 and over. Y'all ready?
We are going to have deep and inspirational conversations on faith, family,
finance, career, and relationships. And today we have a very special guest. Sometimes y'all get just us. But today, man, we got a special guest for you. None other than my brother, Timothy Matthews. Man, y'all in for a treat. This man is hilarious. T. Matthews.
Yes, so excited to have him. Today's topics are so good. So you guys don't want to miss. Make sure you stay tuned, like, share. Let people know that you are here for episode 4 of the 40 Plus Podcast. Mm-hmm. We are going to talk dating and finding love.
Co-parenting, that's a big one.
Divorce.
Yeah, what else we talking about today? Blended families. How do we do it? Are we doing it well? And so we just want to start by giving you a recap of episode 3. Our last episode was on fire, y'all. Who do we have with us last episode?
We had Delise LaPoole. Hope you guys enjoyed that. When I tell you, we talked about some very, very good things. That is our aunt. She is so inspirational, motivational, and just gave us some really good stuff that we can take
full of wisdom
forward. Man, that's it. You
full
said
of wisdom.
Full of wisdom.
Make sure if you missed that episode, go on back and check it out.
Yeah.
Man, she dropped a lot of jewels, and you don't want to miss it. So if you did miss it, it's still out here. So go back and check it out. We talked about, what did we discuss with her? Loving ourselves.
Yeah. Not matching negative energy. What positive energy do we put out?
Yeah. How about single and satisfied? That's a big one. There's a lot of y'all struggling with that.
Man.
And
that
she
was
can
good.
help you.
Ooh, she talked about some really good stuff. Single and satisfied. She also talked about the fullness and richness of life, just being content with where you are and what's going on in your life. And how many times do we actually get to hear somebody talk about like the fullness, like richness in their life? That was so good.
For sure. There was so many jewels in there. She also talked about raising a son who was albino son, and she talked about bullying and how it's unnecessary and how that impacted him and how he turned out to be phenomenal and how we just wish we could just put an end to it all across the country. So man, it was amazing.
Yeah.
So check it out. But today, oh man, without further ado, we want to introduce you to our friend, my brother, the girls and the boys' uncle, Uncle T, y'all. Y'all give it up for Tim Matthews.
What's going on? What's going on, family?
How
you feeling?
What's happening, bro? How you feeling?
Blessed, man. Blessed, man. Happy to be here. Appreciate y'all having me. Always, as family. Love you, sis. Love you, big bro. Definitely just want to be here. Thank y'all for having me.
Yes, sir. It's an honor, man. We appreciate your time, and this is just like we do on a regular occasion. We chop it up all the time.
Yeah.
Already.
Today we gonna get nosy, man. We're gonna dig into your world a little bit.
Let's do it.
While we're doing this, we're gonna help some people, man. As you know, this is the 40 Plus Podcast. This is a space where those who are 40 and older can kind of can relate to a lot of the things that we discussed. So the first topic, man, that we're gonna jump into, man, we ain't gonna waste no time. We're gonna get right into it. The big one. I want to set it up.
Okay,
you want me to set up? You
set up.
All right. So the first topic, I know this is a big one. A lot of people been talking to us, writing us, saying, "Hey, can y'all talk about this? Help us through this." So dating. What does dating look like in 2023? But not just the time, but 40 plus. What does that look like over 40? So dating in 20s don't look like dating in 30s.
Totally different.
30s don't always look like dating in 40s. In 50s and 60s and so on. Man, it's different in each age group. And so we want to dive right into that and talk about dating, man. So tell me, what's been your experience in this dating world in today, 2023?
Well, dating started for me after my divorce about 2019, really.
Okay.
But all the way going up to 19, 20, 21, 22, it was new because, I was married for like 8 years,
Mm.
but with the technology and everything, uh, getting on apps, that's how dating was for me. It was getting on apps. And that was so new where it was a shock
Right.
because it was definitely a shock, man. It was, I met a lot of people, met some interesting people.
Gotcha.
But it is different from, I guess, when you and I grew up,
Hmm.
Yeah.
dating. You get somebody, get the number, write it down, piece of paper. That gives my age a little bit. You write it down on a piece of paper, and you have to get it on through conversation, on the phone. But with the
Yeah.
app and everything, it was so quick. It's quick
Yeah.
to the point of it's reach out, and then you probably meeting the person so soon, and people can, what's it called, ghosting. They can ghost you. It's
Yeah.
new. Yeah.
Oh, you still going? My bad, bro. Go ahead. Go ahead. Talk about
No, no, no. You go ahead. No, but it was weird for me. I ain't gonna lie. It was weird for me,
Absolutely.
and but it gives you it's just like a plethora of people out there. But some you run into some weird situations, or but it's just weird, man. It's not really for me.
It's different.
Yeah, yeah. So dating, man, dating in 2023. So I'm more old school. I haven't had the experience with the apps. So talk about some of these apps that you found to be successful. Some of the apps that you tried out, how they work. Have you found them to be the go-to? Is it more convenient? Is that the way of the world now, or talk to me about these apps.
It is. So the first app I went on out the gate, it was Christian Mingle. That out the gate, it was Christian Mingle because
Okay.
after the divorce, I said, you know what? Let me try to. I didn't even know about Christian Mingle. I saw it somewhere. But I
Mm.
said, okay, let me try to say a little bit, save, sanctify a little bit. So we're gonna do with the Christian Mingle joint. Did the Christian Mingle, and but they wanted you to pay. So it was weird because I would meet somebody, and I can only, if I remember right, they only let you say certain things, but sometimes you couldn't have communication. They had to reach back out to you, so you had to pay for it. So I got off that. So I've tried Christian Mingle, Bumble. I ain't really like Bumble too much,
What was
and then
wrong?
Bumble, because if I remember right, it everything well, really, you couldn't say anything to the women. I think it was geared more for the women to control all the situations.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
So if I remember, I'm pretty sure. So if you reach out to them, even if they swipe on you and you swipe on them, they had to like initiate the conversation or something like that. If they didn't, then you were just sitting there.
So they had
Um,
interest. If they didn't show interest, no, you couldn't even move to step two.
right, you couldn't even move to step two. So Bumble, and then what was it? Tinder. So was it
Hmm.
Tinder? Yeah, Tinder. So Tinder was prosperous. You know what I'm saying?
Not prosperous.
Tinder was prosperous. But no,
Have you thought?
Tinder was cool, but just in all honesty, it was so new to me. Like, I'll get with our group text and I talk to some of the fellas and ask them, like, anybody been on like one of these date apps? And everybody's like my age. I'm 43. And it was like new for them too, but it was too fast paced for me in certain areas. Like I said, where I'm more of I meet you, and I kind of have to chase you a little bit, get
Yeah.
your number, and then you. But yeah, the dating life is a little bit weird with the apps and everything, but it's good. It works out here and there. So yeah,
Okay. Okay. So you
yeah.
say it's applies some pros and cons to it.
Oh yeah, man, there's some pros and cons. My biggest con was I got catfish.
Talk
And
about
so I'm gonna talk about it a little bit. I got catfish, man. We swiped. I guess we connected with each other, and we connected. We spoke, through the app.
Okay.
Spoke through the app, texting back and forth, and we went to go just have drinks. So nice looking young lady, nice pictures. But I didn't know that this like a trick. I guess when it's something when the ladies hold the phone up at an angle or something, like if they look up like that, I guess that does something like somebody put me onto it. But anyways, if they take the picture from like this, that's I don't know. But anyway,
it's an angle.
Put us on game. Is that what they out
so
here doing?
that's what I heard. Like if
it is angles that we will use that we
Okay.
know look good, lighting angles. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So nice looking young lady, real nice. We talked all the time for a minute, and we went to go for drinks. So I remember I get there, and she texted me and said she was already there. So pull up, I go in, and I believe she said she was by like the bar area. So I walk in. When you walk in, if they by the bar, you don't have to wait to get seated or anything.
Right.
So I'm looking, I scour everything, and I don't see her at all.
Okay.
Like, so I'm looking, I sent a text, and I didn't get a response. I see this young lady at the end, and she's like staring at me.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay. I didn't know if she knew me or something, but I didn't know her.
Right.
So she's looking, she's staring at me, and she gets up because I'm walking to the bar a little bit. She gets up and she's coming my way, but I'm not paying her no attention. But I see her keep looking. I'm like, I don't know who this is. So she walks up to me and she says, Tim. So I'm like, hey, I don't know if I know her from work or somewhere along the way. And then she said, I'm not going to say the name, but she says, it's me. I said, who? like, nah, that can't be you. And she said, no, it's me. And I'm like, but, I wasn't, mean towards her or anything. I'm like, wait a minute, but I asked her about it. I said, hey, you don't look like the pictures. And, she told me up front, she said, because of, I guess, some insecurity. So she had other pictures. Like it was not her, like at all. Me, I sat down. We had a few drinks. We talked for a minute because she was real nice.
Okay.
But the new person wasn't for
me. So the personality wasn't 10.
The personality was 11.
Wow.
Personality was 11, but I couldn't move forward because I was, yes, you're attracted to the physical attraction. Yes, that's natural. But I couldn't move forward with how she went about everything.
There you go.
So yeah, it didn't work out. That didn't work out.
I want to ask the people that are watching, put in the comments, guys, have you ever been catfished or have you ever catfished someone? If you did do the catfishing, why? What were you thinking or what were you feeling? What were you going through if you're 40 plus? And then if you did get catfished, tell us in the comments about that. We might have to bring some more guests on here and ask them about their catfishing stories because, bro, online dating is such a thing now. But how do we date and navigate those waters when we're trying to get to know somebody at 40 plus, learn people, honesty is important. And so from the beginning, you weren't even able to develop a friendship at that time that could have potentially been very fruitful because it was deception from the beginning,
Yeah, that one threw me off. When that happened, I was like very leery about a lot of stuff after that because I saw it was a show before called Catfish.
Yeah.
But when it actually happened, yeah, that was a new one for me.
Wow.
Of course, I didn't think it was gonna happen to me, but yeah, it happened.
Wow. Man, but trust being such a big thing, it makes me wonder how the young lady even thought that she could get away with it in a sense.
Yeah.
You know, I
She was
wonder what the
she was
thought
close.
process was. It was like, you know, it's me. Like me who? so, so me who? I mean, I'm just curious as to the thought process of, you know, the ones who have done this before. Like what do you hope to, especially when you're gonna reveal the real you?
Right.
So at that point, do you just hope that they'll just accept me for me? And you know, but like, don't they understand that the trust is now broken? Or?
Yeah, and I think with technology too, if you have that, I think technology allows us to put this false representation of ourselves up, you know,
Right.
and so maybe, you know, we don't know. We would have to just ask. That's why I wanted to ask people who have done the catfish. Is it that the insecurities have bubbled up so much that was the
Right.
only option you felt? But what were you about to say, bro?
I think it's like and I've heard ladies say where guys will put that they're like 6'2", but they're really like 5'9" or 5'10". And then when they get there, I guess they're doing it. It's like, okay, I'm gonna put this out here on the app, and that's gonna attract attention. But I'm just gonna go for it. And when I get there, we'll just work it out when we get there. So I've been told that story a lot by people. Like, yeah, that people, guys will put, you know, this number on there. When they get there, it's totally different. So I guess dudes do it too. You know,
Yeah,
we do it too.
Interesting
that's a
perspective.
good, yeah, definitely.
So the
Yeah.
brother out here catfishing too.
The brothers catfishing too. They doing it. They doing it.
Man, it must be really hard in these streets.
I don't know. Could you online date?
Personally, I wouldn't trust it.
Yeah, hard for me too.
I need real connection and real
Yeah, I'd be
conversation.
scared.
Yeah. But, you know, being exposed to all of this, like what we're talking about,
Yeah,
I think that show really just exposed a lot.
it did.
Right. It can almost be like unless you do like a video call, and a lot of them don't even get to that. Like to do a video call is more, you see my picture, I see your picture, we talk for a little bit, and then we might go meet up. Let's meet in the public, pay for drinks. But I get it's almost like a blind date in a lot of cases. Because
Yeah,
you don't know, sometimes you don't know if a picture's real,
Yeah.
which in my case it was pretty much like a blind date. It wasn't, you know, what I thought it was. So
and I
yeah.
think too what's interesting is I think we all need to know as we're dating and looking for love at this age, what can we handle and what we can't. I think we talked about this before, bro. For me, I think online dating, if that was an option that I chose, I think it would bring out insecurities that aren't naturally there. So if I meet somebody online and then we connect, how I think I would play in my head like, well, how do I know they're still not online? Or how do I know they're still not connecting with other people? Or it doesn't give me just a space to kind of feel comfortable. I think I feel comfortable in more old school settings. And so I think some of us just have to know at this age, what are you comfortable with? You know, and really tell ourselves the truth so that we can show up the best version of ourselves when we're dating new.
Yeah.
That's real.
Let's even talk about options. You know, I think that the reason why we use or certain people use these platforms is because, you know, it may just be convenient. They don't know where to go. They don't like going to certain places. So where do you, man, I'm thankful that I have you, because I mean, like, just wow, where do you even begin? How can we help people that are single now that are looking to find someone? What advice or where would you tell them to go? Would you advise them to use these platforms, or like what places
Can they
meet?
I would still advise to use the platforms, but you definitely have to be, you know, mature about it. You have to be careful, especially for women. Now that's a whole nother ball game with women being careful, because a lot of times you're meeting a guy, you're meeting someone that you don't know at all. But I would advise it still, you know, it's still a tool to do it. I'm still a little bit old school where I meet you at a coffee shop and just go approach you that way. But it can definitely still be used, um, you know, in a positive way. I would definitely still advise it still.
What other
But
places?
me, I'm still go to church,
Okay.
church house, something like that. That's me. You know, if it was like that, meet them at church.
Oh, I got a good one, bro.
What's up?
I think, what do you think about this? Like social gatherings, like changing our where we hang out, like going to art galleries or wine tastings or joining
Right.
clubs in our community, like where you feed the homeless, where you're able to find people who have like-minded interests. What do you think about that? You have to be more intentional, but that
Right, 100%. Because I'm actually looking for some clubs to join just for, you know, just to get out the house more. But
yeah,
something like that, yes, 100%. Because now, if you like in a club or something, it's people that's like-minded, as you have your interests, things like that. Um, you know, social gatherings. You know, that's me personally. I would prefer that because right then and there, I can meet you. We can, you know, converse for a while, see if it's something that we're interested in, and then go from there. But like you say, yeah, social gatherings, things like that. So yeah, I really like those. But I think it's just the younger people that, you know, it's so fast. Everything is fast now. So the young people, that's why they have those tender. It's like speed dating a little bit. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. So I really like the old way.
what do you think at this age, 40 plus, meet people through friends and family? Do we think at this point, yeah, you know, maybe have friends and family kind of help set us up, or no, we'd rather do it on our own?
All right. For friends and family, that's a no for me.
Really?
No,
Why is
that's a
that?
because this is just me personally. Because I'm somewhat private. So
Okay.
now friends and family, now they're depending on who hooked you up.
You
They
right.
might want to know a lot of details a lot of time, or it might be in the business, or now when okay, I meet this lady that I was hooked up with through a friend or family. We get into an argument or something. She might go confide back into the family circles. I'm not with that. I'll pass on that every day of the week. That's
Yeah.
just me.
Good point. That's
Mm-hmm.
a good
Yeah,
point.
so, yeah, I never was like that, friends and family. Nah. What
Mm.
about y'all? Y'all?
Yeah, I was gonna err on the other side because I feel like, you know, depending on who the friend or family member is, they can know us, you know, better than anyone else. So they can potentially find a partner that fits us, you know, just by them being in their own circles or circuits or knowing good people or knowing what we really desire and what we want. Because I don't think that they will hook us up with somebody that they know that we wouldn't, you know, have potential to last or to be with.
Yeah.
And so I kind of would look to a friend, a close friend, because they may know our type, they know our personalities, they know, you know, what I'm saying, like, man, this might be a good fit. Now, of course, nothing is guaranteed, but I think I would trust my friends at least to, you know, to pick somebody decent for me at least.
True that. You know what? I see what you're saying. I take that back a little bit. If it was from my brother, who you know, or my older sister, if they put it together, then I'll be all right with it. But other than that, nah. If it was those two, then I'm good.
Got you. Wow.
Yes, sir. But no, man, dating is with the technology and everything. It was good thing
Yeah.
y'all didn't have to go through that.
I was gonna ask you a question too. So you from Milwaukee, right?
Milltown all day.
Yeah. And you live in Tampa, Florida. Been
Tampa.
a long time.
Yep.
Me knowing where you're from, I understand that we're not lost for words. Like we
Right.
got a certain swag a lot of Milwaukee cats carry that's
Already.
able to, you know, to just talk to people. We can go into rooms and fill up a room. And so
Right.
we're not sure for words. Most of us, you know how to, we got the gift of gab, right?
Right.
So
Right.
what about people or the guys? I'm gonna just speak for the guys. Let's help some of the fellas out here that may be they want to date, but they just are fearful and approaching women and not knowing how to. And so what advice would you give them, or you know, somebody like these platforms? Maybe that's a, you know, I don't know. What you think?
First thing is confident. When I was younger, honestly, I'll tell you a quick story. I know you never heard this before, but I wasn't confident until I probably around the time when you and I met
Okay.
a little bit to just approach somebody.
Gotcha.
So around the time, so what, we were teenagers at that point, but I wasn't really confident until that around that time. And I guess this is a testament to you because you know I was younger than you, and you were always hanging with my bigger bro.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be like both of y'all. So I
Right.
wanted to be like y'all. So me watching, you know, how you and my brother Var handled yourselves like that, I started to get confidence off that because I wasn't confident to approach any lady at all. So to, you know, give some type of advice to someone else is your confidence first. To
Yeah.
just, you know that one, that if you're a good guy, know that you are a good guy. And just be confident and approachable and
Yeah.
respectful and things like that. But it has to start with you just being confident. I've been turned down a lot of times. I've been turned down on the social sites, but I've been turned down before. But you know, yeah, as long as I was respectful,
Amen.
um, that's how they reciprocated. It wasn't, you know, anything where the lady was, you know, derogatory or anything. Just she just turned me down nicely because
Yeah.
I came to her that way. So as long as you come to someone like that, for the most part, you know, you shouldn't have to get down on yourself. Just confidence. So that's
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good. I think that's good for women too, to piggyback off what you guys are talking about, the confidence for the men. I
right.
think, and you guys can weigh in on this. I think confidence for women at 40 plus is important too. What do you guys think? Because yeah, weigh in on that. But how important is it for a woman to be confident that you're interested in herself?
Man, I think it's very important. You know, it's something like if we were to give advice to women who are
Okay.
looking for a man, like what type of advice would you give? I know I would give just being friendly.
Oh
I
my
mean,
goodness, I
just
love
What you
just
said?
huh?
Say it one more time. Say it one more time.
Just being friendly.
That's the key
Yeah,
right there, bro.
yeah. I
That's
think
it.
it's so key.
that's
And a
so
lot
true.
of women miss it because
So true.
they're waiting for somebody to approach them while they sitting in the corner,
Yeah.
you know, not wanting to speak to anybody, but just being friendly, not trying to come at them. But man, that gives us confidence to think like,
Yeah.
oh, she's nice. I might
Yeah.
have a chance with her. I might can, you know, say something to her that she may want to hear, or she listens to me, or she wants to talk, or she's giving me time of day. And so that friendliness goes so far, man. Because man, I'm telling you, some of these women, they got some looks on their faces that'll cut you, and you be like,
Exactly.
yeah,
I've
you can
heard
see
that.
for a little while.
Yeah.
I've heard that so many times. I've heard you wouldn't. So this is what I've heard. Like especially if I met someone on like a dating app, and they'll say something like, "If we were at like a social gathering, you wouldn't approach me."
Mm.
I said, "Why?" Just because of my demeanor, you wouldn't approach me. And I was like, okay, so right there, a lot of times it's just being nice, you know, even if you don't want to be bothered, even if you are there and you're not looking for, you know, someone.
Yeah.
It's nothing wrong with just still being nice, thank you, you know, but no thank you, something
Absolutely.
like that. But you're right, you're right, Mario. Just being nice. That's the key right there. Just being nice and you know, just being nice.
Yeah,
That's
and
it.
that's one of the most attractive qualities that a woman can have in my book. I mean,
Right,
even
right.
aren't maybe a 10 and start to look a little better
Yeah.
when they
Yeah,
smile and just a lot nicer. So
Yeah.
I mean, man,
Type that
yeah,
in the comments, ladies. Just be a little nicer. Let's just go ahead and type that in because I mean, what you guys are speaking is so true. And to be able to hear it from the fellas 40 plus, we got to be able to acknowledge that. But I want to piggyback off what you guys are saying. I appreciate your honesty because for me as a woman, and Mario can vouch to this with us being together, being nice is really a key factor in attracting the opposite gender. And I think women miss that. Because even just going out, being nice, bubbly, making eye contact, smiling, my normal personality, it will draw attention just from being nice and friendly. I think the world loves genuine, nice, friendly people. And I think it's something about when you really have that from the heart, friendship is easier. You know, dealing with family is easier. On your job is easier. Your romantic life. So
I got a question for you too.
huh?
I got a question for you too.
Okay.
So, going off of the being nice. I don't do this, but I've heard women say this.
Okay.
So, how do you feel if a guy tells you, "Hey, smile"?
Mm.
So I don't do it, but I've heard negative things. Women do not like that. Is that true? If your face is not frowning, but if it's frowning, but if a guy just says, "Hey, smile, beautiful," or something like that,
Mm.
how do you take that?
See, I'm different. So I don't think I would be answering for majority because most of the time I'm smiling and happy.
Okay.
But if somebody was to say that to me, I would laugh because
Okay.
I would think it's funny because I'm like, oh man, you're right. I didn't even realize I don't really have a mean face on a regular basis. So that's not really told to me often, but I have family and friends and like cousins that are really nice, but they typically have that kind of mean face and they get offended. But somebody like me, I'm goofy. So you kind of say something to me just in conversation, I'm a laugh. That's just my personality though. And I think you guys are really keying in on something. Personality and being friendly it's just important. I think that personality goes a long way, whether you're talking about with the men in dating or the women in dating. And what like this for me, 40 plus, it's always been a magnet for people to want to draw near me because of my personality or because of being friendly. And so I think that's a key thing, especially if you're looking for someone, you want to be open and you want to make people feel like you're approachable. So
Right.
everything y'all saying is absolutely right. So I pray this encourages, men and women, just that personality is important.
And so I don't want to move past. So we just gave the women some gold, bro. We just gave them
Yeah.
a little something to put in their pockets, right? So help the men out.
Okay.
So help the men out. What is something that a man can do that can help women be attracted to him?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's the being confident, being humble, being genuine.
Mm.
I think that depending on what type of woman you're trying to get, I think women really do want integral men, good men. She's not really attracted to that or she doesn't want that. She's probably not the type anyway at 40 plus. So I think really just kind of being confident in who you are, being integral, being honest, being full of personality, I think you will attract a really good woman and a woman that's a match. But I think in a world where we kind of put on these facades or women want to act a certain way or men want to act a certain way, don't act. I think just be a person of good character, a good integrity, and really let that lead with confidence and then let the right people gravitate towards you so you can actually find a really good person. But yeah, because at the core, once we make our decision, you're going to need integrity to keep the relationship going.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask this, sis. Does the woman choose the man or does the man choose the woman? Go ahead.
Go ahead. But you have a part of that?
So basically I'm asking when the two meet, is it solely up to the woman to say, okay, I'm going to entertain this situation, or to move forward? Is it solely up to her, or is it solely up to the man to say, I'll entertain this situation? Who do you think that it falls on, or has the control, I guess?
I think it's both, though.
Mm-hmm.
I think in our situation with Mario and I, it was both. It was both of us genuinely having interest.
Okay.
our dog is barking, but I think it was both. I think that's what's important is the woman having a genuine interest, the man having a genuine interest, and then being able to build off of that genuine interest. Because if one party is more interested or invested, at some point the relationship could possibly become lopsided. And so at 40 plus, we're not trying to make some of the same mistakes that we made in 20s or 30s. You know, as we're getting older, we're really trying to be more intentional. So I think if you can have that good foundation, like both people are genuinely interested, they want to put in the same amount of energy and effort and build from there, I think that's a good thing.
Definitely, definitely. You know, I agree. Definitely should have both people, you know, that interest should be mutual. But I just wanted to get your opinion on that a little bit.
And
See
sometimes
what
it
you
goes
want to say.
that way. What do you think?
I think I missed the question.
No, so we were saying who okay. No, your situation was she said both of you had that mutual interest. I was just trying to see this one, the lady or the man, does one have the upper hand with saying, determining, okay, this is going to move forward or no, it's not going to move forward. So I guess who has more?
Are we talking about just the initial approach or who initiates?
So no, we're already talking and things of that nature, but who holds the key to say, you know what, I'm going to, does the man, does he have the key to say, you know, I'm going to allow this to keep moving forward, or is more the woman? Is the guy chasing the woman, or is the woman chasing the man, basically?
I think it varies. I mean, it could be situational, but again, sometimes a lot of guys are leaders, you know, by nature. So we may lead the relationship where we want it to go.
Okay.
So women, you know, may kind of allow that to happen, or at least try to figure out where the man is in the situation, or where they want it to go, and allow him to lead. So they can dictate, you know, what is this really for you? Where do you want the relationship to go? So I think that, I mean, it could be different. Like sometimes, you know, I know some guys that like a woman that's not afraid to say what she wants either. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think that it has to be a certain way. I think, you know, it's situational, whatever works for those individuals.
Right. Got you.
Speaking on dating and this topic, what do we do now when you're meeting people online or you're looking at people's profiles and they have a lot of AI generated photos? How do we deal with that? Because that's not necessarily catfishing. Like they're like, okay, that's me. It's just AI. It's just AI altered. Like, how
So
do
you talking about with like the effects and everything?
Yeah, kind of.
So some of the pictures, if they're AI generated, it's a variation of that person in a sense.
Yeah, it's a strong enhancement. That's what I'll call it.
Oh,
So basically, it can be your photo. We take a picture of you right now and we send it to the guy.
Mm-hmm.
It will depict what you look like in different forms. So it's still you, and it's based off of your picture, but it's heavily enhanced all the way down to image, body shape, and you know,
they got that out for real,
tone, and all of that.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, oh no, you should be able to sue off that. What part of the game is that? So wait, so
you can definitely tell that it's enhanced. So it's not like a normal looking photo. It'll look like it's been altered, like almost cartoonish in a sense.
Oh,
it's perfect. And so with that being the case, you know, a lot of people are using these as, you know, as their profile pictures, things that they're sending out to try to attract men or women. And, you know, we were just curious, you know, in this day and age, like, man, how do you feel about this whole movement, the AI movement?
I think if they're doing that, it's fine, because now how you said you can tell about this picture, right? You can tell that it's been like enhanced.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess if you can tell it's enhanced, then that's on you, basically. So you're agreeing to say, I know this picture is enhanced. I'm still going to communicate and reach out.
Okay.
So if you get, to go meet that person and it doesn't look like the picture, you already knew a little bit ahead of time that. So that's on you.
Yeah. So it's to
But
be expected.
I wouldn't, click on it. I don't think I would. Um, and not being because of my past experience with the actual catfish. I think that's why. That's
Got-
probably why I would do it because that one kind of threw me for a loop. Because
Yeah.
that was because while we were there, I'm going back to the subject. Like we're talking about her problems and things like that at the bar, and that was a little bit, So yeah, I wouldn't mess with it.
So we talked about the AI generated photos. We talked about how dating can move at a fast pace, and we talked about different ways that women or men can approach each other. Do you think
Okay.
there's any other advice that maybe we can give people that are dating right now, 40 plus? They may have lost a spouse, they may be starting over after divorce, they may be scared to get out there. Any other advice that you could give people, like just dating age group?
My advice would be whatever happened, let's say it was, a breakup, a divorce, that's not everybody else out there. So whatever happened in your past, of course you have to be careful and things of that nature. But um, there's good people out there. I had that question asked to me so much, like, like, are you going to get married again? Are you going to date seriously again? As if what I went through before, that was everybody out there.
There you
Like,
go.
and I think that you just have to recognize when you're ready, though, to make the move to say, okay, I'm ready to get back out there and date. Just realize that there's good things out there, you know. So I think that's the most important thing because, I've been through a lot, you all been through things, but look at you, there's good people out there. There's good situations out there. And, whenever you're ready to step out,
That's good.
don't hold on to what was in your past. So that's my advice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's really good advice. So we hear you saying letting go is key. Letting
That's
go
it.
is important.
yeah, man. It took me now, hold on, I'm saying it like it was like this. It took me it took me a minute. It took me a minute. It wasn't letting go of the other person. So, when I split, it wasn't letting go saying like I wanted to be back with this person, but I had to let go of anger and things like that.
Oh,
Hmm.
So
that's
I wasn't letting go. I I, I didn't want to be back with the person at all. With her, excuse me, I'm saying the person. I didn't want to be back with her at all. But I was angry for a while,
Hmm.
about a lot of things. And I had to let that go because, that would trickle into, other things. So
New
there you go.
situation. Yeah.
There you go.
yeah, that's definitely important. I had to learn that. I didn't have to learn it the hard way, so to speak, but I had a lot of good people in my corner that would tell me, "No, you still angry about this, you know,
Ooh, they
you
be
need to." And yeah, keeping people surrounded with you, say, "No, you still angry," and I would say, "I'm not. I don't want to be back with her." I said, "I'm. That's not what I'm saying. But you're still angry at something that we know you don't want to be back with her, but you." So I had to let those things go. So that was key for me.
That's good. You're actually going into our next topics, and I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. We were going
Good
to go
stuff.
into co-parenting, but before we go into co-parenting, let's go into what put you back on the market and you single, which was divorce. Tell
Right.
us a little bit about recovery after divorce and the phases that you go through after divorce, and a little bit about your personal testimony that made it to where you were back on the market 40 plus.
Okay. So personal testimony. I was married for 8 years. 8 years we divorced. Um, I ain't do nothing. It wasn't my fault. I'm gonna say that. I'm proud to say
It
I
was
ain't
your
do
fault.
nothing. You know, she had other plans with um her ex. They end up getting married actually.
So it was
They end
an affair in the marriage.
Yeah, yeah. They end up getting married after a year after we split. So a year after our divorce, they end up getting married. Um, he and I we end up getting cool because he had to be around my son. So we had to, you know, formulate, you know, a good positive situation because
How many children do you have, Tim, for those who don't know?
I have one. Y'all, so y'all nephew have one. He's 14. Um, so yeah, so after that, we split. They got married, things of that nature, and it it was challenging because dealing with what he was going through, that was the big thing. So once I got over like my anger and things of that nature, it was I thought it was smooth sailing, saying, okay, well, we'll be able to just keep everything going. But then, you know, watching what he went through, but then at the same time, I'm trying to go see about my new life. That was hard because I'm thinking a lot of times I would think he was okay when he really wasn't. But then I'm trying to pursue my new life to go find somebody. But I would find I had to go focus on him. Like, I've been told a lot that um, you know when I would try to go dating, they would notice that I'm always talking about him,
Oh,
but he would be on my mind because I knew what he was going through,
that's
and
Yeah.
it.
that sometimes that caused some problems, you know, within um, the situation because a lot of my attention was focused on him. So that was a hard transition. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, but you know, working through that, um, it is definitely a hard thing when
Did,
there's kids involved. So yeah.
did you feel like the people that you were dating were understanding of your situation and your love for your son, or did you feel like they had no empathy?
Oh no, they were very understanding. That's where
Mhm.
most people swipe left because I had him on my profile and they were swiping because they just like, okay,
He's a
um,
family man.
yeah, your family man, he's a good father. So you know that was helping your boy out. But but no, they were very understanding of it. But it was just me at the time where you know I remember I was on a I was on a date. I was on a date talking to someone, and as soon as we sat down, she said, "Okay, we're not talking about Sean."
Mm.
Now she was
Just the first
joking, and
day?
no. We were
Okay,
talking for a while, but
gotcha.
she was joking, but she was saying, "Look, he's good. We're not talking about Sean." I
Oh,
Gotcha.
said,
get to
"Okay," but yeah, so it wasn't anything malicious or anything like that. But I had to recognize that. Yeah, I'm pouring a lot to him but it's affecting other things. So that situation, but other than that, it's just you know when you go through divorce or you separate, it can definitely be trying as far as
Hmm.
trying to get back in the swing of things. Yeah, man.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
want to talk about finding love because if it was easy, everybody would have it,
mm,
Right.
right? So the
True.
fact that the divorce rate is as high as it is, the fact that you and I and yourself and so many others, millions of people have been divorced,
yeah.
it points to finding love is difficult. It's difficult to find true love. Would you
Right.
agree with that? And so my
Yeah.
next part of that is how do we do it? And did we know or did you know personally that you had done it wrong? When did you find that out? So you were married before. During that marriage, when did you find out that you had made a mistake?
I found out. Okay, so let me rewind. I said I didn't do anything.
let's talk. Let's give up the goods.
Let me give up a little bit. So I said I didn't do anything. This is what I believe I did with it. Um, we met when she was young. She was like 22. I was 26 at the time, or 25, 26. Um, I tried to change her.
Mm.
I didn't really like a lot of things about her, personality wise. And, I remember my mother, and my mother, God bless her, she's a lovely woman. She never gets in my business. But
Yeah.
I remember we were at like a picnic or something, and it's her first time meeting her. And like I don't curse in front of my mama at all. But the girl I was with, my ex-wife, just before we were married, she's used to cursing a lot,
Okay.
like around her people. And so like she's cursing like in front of my mom like it's nothing. And I'm like, hey, chill out. And I remember my mom put me to the side and she said, T, she said, so this your girlfriend? I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then she was like, okay, uh, y'all personality just seemed a little bit different. And then me, I was young. Oh no, mom, I like that. No, she good, but no, she gonna grow out of it. You just gotta. And my mother, I remember she just gave me a look, and she just said, "Okay." That was her way of saying that that's not the best situation for you. But she's not gonna say no, no. And she was saying, "Okay, you gonna have to go through it." After a while, I heard what my mother said. I heard it. How just with that, okay. But I was young. I was going off a lot of things. I said, "Oh, she's young. She's gonna grow out of it." And I tried to change it. Like I would try to get her to go to church when that just really wasn't her thing. I said, okay, well, once we get a family, it's gonna go this way. I had that in my head. Once we get a family and everything, it's gonna go this way. But that's who she was, and she's never changed. So I think a little bit after we got married, I was like, okay, this is probably going to be
I
right.
think something happened to the sound, bro.
Can you hear me? Sound back right is what I was saying is um, my mother knew ahead of time that probably wasn't the best situation for me. I just tried to change a person, thinking that okay, she's going to grow out of this. She's going to grow out of like her attitude and things like that. So that was on me. And so a little bit after the wedding, I said, okay, this is going to be a rough road. And we worked through a lot of things for the most part. Um, it got to like 2012 where we were just having a lot of difficult moments, a lot where we just weren't connected. And I go back to that being equally yoked. We
Yes.
we weren't.
Yeah.
Um, tried to work through, went to counseling, things of that nature. Just it just wasn't working. About 2012, um, I found out that at that point she was still in love with her ex.
Mm.
It was kind of it was definitely difficult. We shared everything, so I had all her passcodes to Facebook, had her passcode to her phone. She had all mine. We were married, so we didn't hide anything like that. How I found out was, we just couldn't. I just couldn't figure out why we weren't getting along or anything. So one day I was at work, and I went in her Facebook and I went through her messages. Now I've never done this like ever with anybody ever, but I just couldn't figure out why we weren't getting along. So I went through it and I saw she was communicating with her ex. Now in the transcript, it wasn't anything vulgar, anything sexual or anything like at all. But reading what they were writing to each other, it was something there that you can tell that they had a connection that her and I didn't have.
Wow.
Like they didn't say anything sexual, not one thing. You know, if you would have read it, you would have said they're just talking. But it was something I said, no. So I remember I called her. I was at work. I said, hey, I need to talk to you. She's like, hey, what's going on? And I said, hey, I just need to ask you a question. Are you still in love with, you know, your ex? No, I said, do you still love your ex? And she got quiet. She said, yes. And I said, well, hold on. Let me ask that question again. Are you still in love with her? And she got quiet. She said, yeah. And then from there, yeah, it was just downhill from there. We did like emergency counseling session that night. Like the pastor called us, told us to come through. And she said that she was in love with him even when we walked down the aisle because she never got over him. So that was a big issue. We actually worked through it. You know, I chose to stay and work through it. We went through that period of time trying to work through it. She said she wasn't going to be in contact with him, anything like that. So, you know, she would fly back and forth to where she's from, New York, things like that. And so they would see each other or whatnot. But then same thing happened 2017, same person, same situation. And they end up getting married afterwards. So, but it's crazy. They just got divorced like last year. So none of the stuff, you know, but hey, I think you know, just there's always, you know, there's life after divorce, is what I can say.
That's
Definitely
it.
divorce. Definitely life after divorce. Yeah.
For sure. Man, that was a strong story, bro. Man,
Yeah, it was more to it, but I can't get it. It's a
I
lot.
understand.
Oh, you know about it. It was a lot
Yeah.
more to it.
And that was something that you went through actually before you turned 40. But
Yeah,
I
man.
think I think the thing that we want to pull out, you know, for the 40 plus age group is how do we find love, finding love, and then knowing when we're in wrong situations. Like how long do we stay in wrong situations? You know, and you talked about
Mhm.
how although you weren't 40 yet, the first time you tried to make it work.
Yeah,
A few years later, it came right back up again. And so it's like, at what point do you walk away from situations that you know aren't profitable?
let me see. Hold on, let me stop this real quick. Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Sorry, it just went out.
Oh,
Um,
and here too, bro, before you jump in. For those of you guys who did not get to watch last week, that was episode 3.
Yeah.
Make sure you tune back in and go through that episode before you get to this episode, so that you can get an understanding of what's kind of being unpacked here. Last week, we were able to talk about finding ourselves, loving ourselves, single and satisfied, healing, and really being at a space in our life that helps us make those really good, fruitful decisions at 40 plus. And so some of the conversation that we were having last week is just ringing in my head now that we're coming to this week, and we're having to really look at sometimes in life we didn't take that time to really love us, to really get to know us, and then we find ourselves in romantic relationships that we shouldn't be in. We find ourselves in marriages that we shouldn't be in. We find ourselves in situations that we should be in because we really didn't take that time younger or at different points in our life to really learn ourselves.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, man. I'm just still thinking about this story.
Yeah.
And how, you know, the guy brought him through it. He was able to even get to a place where he was wanting to start again.
Yeah.
Try
absolutely.
again after all that he's been through. And so, yeah, just what we're talking about now is, when did you know you married wrong? That's a hard question. That is such a hard question, because it's like, that's one question that you don't really want to face.
Yeah. And I think too, within the church or just in general, people can make us feel so bad for a failed marriage.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I've heard a lot of people say this at 40 plus, that they felt like they were pushed into marriage, younger, being in the church. And then a lot of people feel like, since the Bible says God hates divorce, that they think that God will hate them if they get divorced. But I always try to encourage people, God hates divorce. He doesn't hate us. And so in this life, we know, for those of us who are Christians, Jesus died for all of our sins, our failed relationships, our failure in career, our failure in finances. He's with us and we're covered. But to be real about life, sometimes we really do make bad decisions, and sometimes we are in the wrong relationships and we got in them for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. And one thing I did appreciate about him, and we don't know if he's going to come back or not, y'all, but while he's gone, what I appreciated about hearing him say was that he had a role in it.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about that, and that was, big of him to say that I tried to change her.
Yeah.
So when we get in situations with people who are not maybe the best fit for us, that's what we do naturally. We try to change people to, shape them into what you think fits best for you.
There you go. And I think when we're younger too, a lot of times we may not have the wisdom or the maturity to understand and process this. And I think that's why forgiveness to ourselves is so important. Because if you think about it, we really didn't have the wisdom to know. Like, I think sometimes we just didn't have the tools to know that, no, maybe I should stop. Maybe this is a red flag. Maybe I shouldn't go down this road. We really do kind of hope and believe, out of our immaturity, being naive, that we can fix things, that everything will be okay if I turn my eye to this. If I don't, only life gives you that understanding and that wisdom to know that I should not have overlooked this. I should not have went forward. I should have turned around. Like this, that's why forgiveness for ourselves is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. And how much does healing play a part of this whole journey?
Yeah, all of it.
Just self-healing and taking the time to really unpack the things that you've really been through and going through, because it's traumatic, especially when you have children involved. You got families, extended families, jobs. Man, it's so many things that it's just like a rip. It's a tear, and it's not easy. Divorce is never easy.
Not at all. Any failed relationship for a certain amount of time, it's not easy. If we think about just the changes that happen within our life, 40 plus, it's not easy. There's so many testimonies, and you guys writing in, put in the comments, let us know some of the hard things that you've been through, not only romantically, but just in life that you did not see coming. And that's why I'm so excited for us to have this platform, because we're able to talk about these things that we didn't expect. We didn't know were going to come our way, but still say that at 40 plus, there's so much life. There's so much hope. There's so much love. We can get up and do it again. Just because we're 40 plus doesn't mean that we're failures. Failure, or when we failed previous in our life, it allows us to grow. It gives us wisdom. It works for our good. So just because we failed in an area does not mean that we are failures.
Failing doesn't make you a failure.
There you go. You said it. See, that's why I love baby. He always that's that writer in him, y'all. Just that writer.
So we have our guest Tim back. I'm gonna bring him back up. I believe he's ready. My brother. Okay, he may be froze. But yeah, I think this was a really, really, really good show. A really good topic. We'll have to bring bro back to just share some of the things he's going through. One of the things that we wanted to talk about was co-parenting.
Yes.
He's in a very unique situation with co-parenting that I think people would want to hear. And so we'll definitely be talking about that topic as well. And what else do we want to cover with Tim?
More children and blended families. At 40 plus, is that what we're looking more for? More children, blended families. Are we open for that? How do we feel? Because if we're finding love again, that's a big decision. Yeah,
it's a huge decision.
If we want to have more children, or are we ready to be in a blended family, and what that takes, how we can bring that, to the table. It's a lot.
It is a lot. It affects everybody. So many different scenarios that are impacted by that one decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and being able to be real and honest with ourselves in this season. God, what do you have for me? What do we want to bring to the table? What do we want to see? I'm excited because being 40 plus doesn't mean the end of things as much as it can mean a new beginning, a new start.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited about that.
Let's welcome for these last few minutes, Tim Matthews. Let's bring him back, y'all. We thought you bailed on us, bro. We thought you bailed on us. You're back.
No, man, you know I'm here for it, man. It's had a little technical difficulties.
I understand.
Apologies. What I missed?
So listen, we want to jump back. We want to jump right into another topic with you, real
Okay,
quick.
let's do it.
We think this is really important.
Yeah.
Talk to us about your co-parenting situation, how you manage it,
Okay.
and also the challenges with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And some of the pros and cons of co-parenting. What's been your experience so far?
So my experience, you know, I'll lay it on the table. It hasn't been good, brother. It hasn't been good at all. What I believe with co-parenting, both parties have to, when it comes to dealing with the children, they have to remove any feelings or ill will or anger that they have towards each other.
That's
when
good.
it comes to handling the children. Like I say, with my situation, I've had to have to talk to my ex-wife and say, equate it to, because my son, he plays basketball. So I've had to say things like, listen, I know we don't get along, but if we're at a basketball game and something happens to my son, you know, let's say he gets into an argument, or you know how families can get at AAU basketball games. Sometimes they can run on the court. We don't like each other to that degree, but we're going to form as a team to protect our son right there.
Absolutely.
We're going to be on the same team. So why can't we be like that when there's no threat or anything? When there's just, you know, we have to co-parent. I know you don't like me. That's fine. But we have a common goal to make sure this young man, you know, becomes you know, the young man that God wants him to be. That's our common goal. So whatever we have going on, that's fine. But when it comes to him, let's work together. And that's the problem that I have in my situation, where whatever reason, you know, she feels how she feels, and that's fine. But Sean is involved in a lot of it.
Yeah.
Where he's put into the middle of situations, and he's a kid. He shouldn't have to do that. So I think when you co-parent, you have to remove those feelings out when it comes time to deal with the kid. We can go back to, you know, how we were, but we have to make sure that the children are okay.
That's it.
Absolutely. And man, that's so true. And it's not always easy because, like you said, two parents should come together to protect the children. But how do you protect the child from another parent? Man, that's a real tough one. And so it looked like he froze up again. But yeah, that's something to think about, you guys. That's another topic that opens up a whole nother door. So that's something we definitely want to touch on.
We have to revisit.
Man, I don't know if you and I would just talk about that one, or we're gonna bring a guest.
Yeah.
That one gets real.
I think we need a part 1, 2, and 3 with co-parenting. I think we'll do a part with just Mario and I, and then we'll have to do some more parts because we really have to unpack this. There's so many families right now in the 40 plus age group that are co-parenting, and we're trying to go about this as healthy as we can. I do want to say this right quick. One thing that I did think about, back to character when we're dating, it takes maturity to co-parent.
Man, yes, sir.
And
yes,
so he was like, I felt that. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I felt that. Yes, sir.
So,
So,
that church came up. Yes, sir. My bad. She is all the way woman.
So listen, I mean, literally, it takes that maturity. And I think what's happening is that's another characteristic and attribute that we need to make sure that our mate has. We should look for that in dating. Because if anything happens in the course of that relationship, and you get to marriage and you get to having children, and Lord forbid that marriage fails, if you know that you're dealing with a very mature, integral person, then that can help aid when times of hardship come up, when we're not agreeing in co-parenting, when we have to deal with the aftermath of the divorce and the aftermath of life changing. Maturity needs to rise up, integrity needs to rise up, honesty needs to rise up, coming together still for one main purpose, which is the children, needs to rise up. And so I think that's why it's so important. I think the number one thing in our romantic relationships is going to be character. We have to look for good character from the people that we're choosing to yoke ourselves with in life.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, listen, y'all, that takes up all of our time for this episode, the 40 Plus Podcast. Thank you for joining in. We have grown in our subscribers. Like I told y'all, we're going to go from 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 75 to 1,000. But listen, we're going up, y'all, and we can't do it without y'all. So one thing I wanted to add is that as you're subscribing, make sure you hit that bell. Yeah. Because what that does is it allows you to know exactly when we drop new episodes. Our episodes drop every Wednesday, but you will get the first notification when it drops. So when you wake up in the morning, it's like, oh man, I got another episode. Let's dig in. Let's get to it. Because this is good stuff, y'all. 40 Plus Podcast. This is the hangout spot where we touch and inspire those who are 40 plus.
We talk about deep and inspirational conversations on family, faith,
finance, career, and relationships.
And so we're so excited that you guys joined us tonight. Thank you again to our guest, Tim Matthews. We will have him back again so we can continue this conversation. But thank you guys. If there's a topic before we go that you want us to talk about, please make sure you put in the comments. Please make sure you email us. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. We love you guys and thank you so much. This is just the beginning, the 40 Plus Podcast.
God bless. We out of here. Take care, y'all.